Well, who couldn't use more happiness in their life? Maybe you're feeling like things are going great. Maybe you feel like there might be more to this thing called life. My next guest literally wrote a book on happiness. It's called Getting to You, Increasing Your Happiness. Welcome, Dr. Pamela Wiggins. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you so much, Suze. I'm very happy to be here.
Doctor, is this actually targeted towards people who are unhappy or just regular people who might be happier? Who are you speaking to in your book?
This book, Getting to You, Increasing Your Happiness, is targeted to everyday working people. Given the past year and a half, we've gone through so much with,
Mm.
the pandemic. And so people have been working from home, trying to figure out how can I increase my happiness? What is it that I can do? Because I'm working from home. I don't have that interaction with others in the office. So Getting to You, Increasing Your Happiness speaks to everybody, moms, dads, sisters, brothers, working students that aren't working.
That's a big audience. That covers pretty much all of us. I want you to tell us more about yourself and how you got involved in coming up with the idea of this.
Well, a little bit about myself and my background. First of all, I am a Christian. I am a godmommy, and I am a sister. I am an auntie, and I am a daughter. And I'm also a professional business owner. But I came up with this idea, Getting to You, Increasing Your Happiness, through just my own personal experiences, because I found myself one day at my job. This was before I opened my own business, thinking, how do I increase my happiness? There's got to be some sort of correlation between my personal life and my work life. And I found that there were strategies that I could utilize to be able to combine the two to be happy and successful at work.
I can't help being impressed with your bio. I don't normally talk much about an author's bio, but when I see that you're a motivational speaker, an adjunct professor, certified master life coach, Florida Supreme Court certified family mediator, I mean, the interviews that you've done, the education that you have, you've met a lot of people. And so I have to think that the person that you had in mind with this book is covering from maybe an hourly worker, minimum wage worker, all the way up to people that you're rubbing elbows with, in the Florida Supreme Court,
Yes. And Suze, you're exactly right. When I wrote this book, Getting to You, Increasing Your Happiness, I had everyone in mind because, a lot of times there's a particular genre that a book is geared towards. It might be geared towards young adults or older adults, but I wanted a book that everyone could relate to because it's very important for all of us to be happy at our workplace. It's easier for us to say, I'm happy at home, but that doesn't transfer into the workplace. But I wanted to write a book that would be able to allow us to be happy both at work and also at home.
We spend a lot of time at work. It'd be a really good thing if we could be happy there too. What was there one in particular person, or were there a series of stories that you saw that were, common? Man, I'm seeing this repeatedly. I need to write a book about this. What really prompted you to do that?
I think one of the stories that I can recall best, and I'll use myself as an example, when I was completing my doctorate degree, working very hard, also going to work, just being stressed out. And I said, there's got to be a way that I can implement things at home and implement things at work. Also, for example, being very stressed out, you have to take breaks every now and then. So I noticed that in my doctoral studies, I would sit down and I would take a 30-minute break. And I also noticed at work that when I was able to take a break, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, I felt more rejuvenated. I felt, ready to go on for, the next couple of hours. And so things like that, remembering self-care increases your happiness.
I think about how important it is now that I'm talking to you through this interview to be happy at work, excuse me, because you're taking all that home with you and then you're affecting your family with it.
Yes. And I think what also is important as it relates to self-care, and this is also allows you to increase your happiness, is to remember that we have to take care of ourselves. And part of that is in one of my chapters, chapter 8, where I talk about saying no, setting boundaries. You have to say no. And saying no is a form of self-care, which will allow you to see improvements in your life and allow you to be happier.
Do you find that it's women that have a harder time with this as you're reading these chapters going, yeah, the majority are women who have a hard time saying no, we're just naturally pleasers?
Yes, and Suze, it's so interesting that you bring that up because as women naturally we're inclined to do everything. I will say, we're mothers, we're those caretakers, we're full time students, we're full time employees, and so for us to say no naturally, that's not in our vocabulary. We say yes to everything, and so learning to set those boundaries like I mentioned in my book, and learning to say no is very, very helpful.
Hmm. What are some other words of wisdom? I mean, saying no, man, that's very practical. We can start doing that today. What are some other practical things or words of wisdom that we can take from the interview?
I think some of the a very practical piece of advice I can provide is do what you have to do now so you can do what you want to do later. And my
Mm,
father instilled that in me in a very young age. And what that basically means is do what you have to do in order to find that inner peace, in order to find happiness, so you can do the things that you love to do later on in life.
mm. Have you done that?
Yes, I have. Yes, by one saying no, and also allowing self care. So self care looks like being able to, when you come home from work, having a 30-minute debrief, just not doing anything before you get started at your home. Also, self care includes being able to take time out to do things for yourself. It may be a dinner with a friend that you have always, you said, gosh, we need to get together. We haven't been able to get together. It may be going out for a manicure or a pedicure,
Mm.
just being able to do something for yourself. And those are just some of the ways that we get to us by to increase our happiness, being able to combine both personal and also professional life together to bring
Mm.
those two together so that you're able to find the happiness, that happy medium for yourself.
And I know that this is a book for men and women, but as we're talking about women having a little bit more of a struggle saying no to people, I think we also have a little bit harder time releasing funds on ourselves and going, no, no, that's okay. You can go fishing for the weekend with the guys, but I don't want to take the money for me to get a nice haircut or something. So self-care, we have to give ourselves permission to do that in all ways, not just time, but also money, it sounds like.
Yes, and that's exactly right. And we have to give ourselves permission, and we have to give ourselves to be permission to be happy as well, because everyone deserves to be happy. And especially as women, sometimes, especially if you're caring for a small child, if your
Mm.
aunt or your grandmother or your mother, you might say to yourself, "Gosh, well, I'm going to go ahead and take care of this for the kids." But we need to realize that we need to take that time as well. And so I'll give you an example. What I do for my self care, just to make me feel a little bit better, I am diligent about scheduling my hair appointments. That is a form of self care for myself. And so every other week, I call my hairdresser, and she knows that I'm coming in for that self care for Pamela that Pamela so desperately needs.
Yes.
And I encourage other women to do that as well. And just embrace it and say it's okay, because that is part of getting to your happiness.
We have to do this. Dr.
Yes.
Pamela Wiggins wrote the book Getting to You, Increasing Your Happiness, available on Amazon. And how can people get a hold of you?
People can get a hold of me several different ways. You can reach me through my Linktree website. It's Linktree dash Dr. Pamela Wiggins, or either you can reach me via my website, wmc-llc.org, or either my speaker website, drpamelawiggins.com.
Thank you, Pamela. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Suze. It was such a blessing to be here. Thank you so much.